Hi, it's Miss Lisa from the St. Paris Public Library. Today's Anytime story is called Just a Second. The second doesn't relate to any cycle in nature. It's a human invention and the shortest interval of time most of us use in our daily lives. The Babylonians came up with this idea of the second about 4,000 years ago, but they had no way to measure such a short interval of time. A vulture in flight flaps its wings once every second. A pygmy shrew's heart beats 4 times a second. A bat can make 200 high-pitched calls. A rattlesnake shakes its tail in warning 60 times. A hummingbird beats its wings 50 times. A bumblebee beats its wings 200 times. A midge, a kind of gnat, beats its wings 1,000 times in a second. A woodpecker hammers a tree trunk with its beak 20 times. In 1 second, a black mamba slithers a frightening 24 feet. A cheetah sprinting flat out and a sailfish swimming at top speed both travel 100 feet. A dragonfly in flight cruises 50 feet. A very fast human can run 39 feet in 1 second. A peregrine falcon in a dive or stoop plunges more than 300 feet. A stone dropped from rest falls 16 feet per second. The Helios 2 satellite zoomed 43.5 miles. This is the fastest a man-made object has ever traveled. A commercial jet at cruising altitudes covers about 800 feet. A jet-powered thrust SSC covered 1,119 feet while setting a land speed record. In 1 second, a meteor entering Earth's atmosphere can travel 44 miles. A howler monkey's deafening scream travels 1,125 feet. A human can blink 7 times in a second. A humpback whale's long song travels 5,085 feet through the water. Somewhere in the world, 4 babies are born and 2 people die. Light travels 186,000 miles. 1,500 chickens are killed. The Apollo 10 spacecraft traveled almost 7 miles during re-entry, the fastest humans have traveled in a man-made vehicle. The male mannequin rubs its wingtips together more than 100 times, creating a sound like a note played on a violin. Earth advances 18.5 miles in its orbit around the sun. In 1 minute, a person walking at a brisk pace covers about 300 feet. The minute, like the second, isn't based on any natural cycle. The 60 minutes in an hour, like the 60 seconds in a minute, are based on a Babylonian counting system that was in use thousands of years ago. A three-toed sloth hauls itself about 10 feet. A giant tortoise lumbers about 15 feet. A common snail glides about 1 foot. The moon travels 38 miles in its orbit around the earth. A charging grizzly bear gallops 1/2 mile. A skydiver in free fall plunges 2 miles. A person standing on one spot at the equator travels 18 miles as Earth rotates. In 1 minute, a very chilly crocodile's heart may slow to just 1 beat. An elephant's heart beats about 30 times. A hamster's heart beats about 450 times. An adult heart beats about 70 times, and a child's heart beats about 100 times. It rained 1.5 inches on Guadalupe, an island in the Caribbean, a record. The world's population increased by 149 people. 260 people are born and 116 people die every minute. 2,200,000 pounds of rice are harvested. A hungry horned lizard can eat 45 ants, one at a time, in 1 minute. Around the world, 59,000 barrels of oil are used, almost 15,000 of them in the United States. People around the world drink the equivalent of 2,600,000 12-ounce soft drinks every minute. In 1 hour. The hour was also created by humans. The hour we use today comes from the Egyptians. About 4,000 years ago, they began dividing the daytime and nighttime each into 12 parts. In 1 hour, 15,913 people are born and 6,933 people die. The world's population increases by 8,980 people. An average of 19 gallons of fresh water is used for every person on Earth. An adult takes about 900 breaths. A mole can dig a tunnel 20 feet long. A starfish can crawl 30 feet or more using the tiny tube feet on its arms. 7,500 pounds of space debris, most of it dust, falls to Earth. The sun travels 500,000 miles on its trip around the center of the Milky Way galaxy. A baby blue whale feeding on its mother's milk gains 10 pounds in an hour, in 1 week. Over the ages, people found it useful to have a unit of time longer than a day, but shorter than a month, what we call a week. Weeks have varied in length from 3 to 20 days. Our 7-day week originated in Babylonia around 2,500 years ago. In 1 week, a migrating bird-tailed godwit flies 5,500 miles. A ladybug can consume more than 500 aphids. The International Space Station orbits Earth 110 times. Human development destroys an area of the forest equal in size to 550,000 football fields in 1 week. There are as many as 8,000 earthquakes strong enough to be felt. Fewer than 3 on average are powerful enough to do serious damage. Once a week, a monarch butterfly on its annual migration flies 700 miles. A giant pumpkin can gain 150 pounds. 2 mice, a male and a female, meet and mate. We'll check in on them again soon. Moose antlers, the fastest growing tissue of any mammal, can add 6 inches to their length in 1 week. In 1 month, 84,000 new books are published. After the day, the month may be the oldest human unit of timekeeping. A month on our calendar is roughly based on the time it takes the moon to go through a full cycle of its phases, about 29.5 days. In 1 month, our 2 mice had an average litter, 10 babies. There are now 12 mice. More than 700 new species of insects will be named. 4,400,000 new cars leave the factory. The hair on the human head grows 1/2 inch. Human fingernails grow 1/8 of an inch. People around the world produce enough trash to fill a square pit more than 1 mile on a side in 1,200 feet deep. A eucalyptus tree can grow 30 inches. A migrating gray whale can cover 2,500 miles of open ocean in 1 month. The world's human population increases by about 6,556,000 people. 11,616,000 are born and 5,060,000 die. In 1 year, The year is based on the time it takes for Earth to make one full circuit of the sun. Along with the day and the month, the year is one of the 3 basic units of time shared by people throughout history. In 1 year, an estimated 50 people are killed by sharks. More than 2 million people are killed by mosquito-borne diseases. The moon moves 1.5 inches farther away from the Earth. An Arctic tern flies 40,000 miles, the longest migration in the animal world. Mount Everest raises 1/2 inch. If all of the offspring of our original pair of mice survived and mated, the 2 rodents would now be more than 1 million living descendants. Humans cut down 4 billion trees in 1 year. A termite queen will lay almost 3 million eggs. There are 78,670,000 more people on Earth. 139,400,000 are born, and 60,730,000 die. Light travels 6 trillion miles. This is 1 light year. Global warming causes a sea level rise of about 1/8 of an inch every year. Seafloor spreading moves the United States 1 inch away from Europe. Very quick. In our universe, some things such as light travel across the room, happening much too quickly for us to notice. Science has given us the ability to measure many of these very fast events, even if we can't experience them directly. Very quick, a housefly can spot danger and take off in 1/10 of a second. Light travels a distance equal to the length of the Earth's equator in 1/7 of a second. A puff adder can strike and return to a coiled position in less than 1/2 a second. Dolphins can see using sound by making a series of clicks, each one as short as 1/600th of a second, and listening to the echoes. A fastball makes the trip from a Major League Baseball pitcher's hand to home plate in less than 4/10 of a second. The trapjaw ant snaps its jaws shut in 1/800th of a second, the fastest movement in the animal world. The human brain can register a finger touching something in 1/100th of a second. The Shasta salamander, an amphibian with the world's fastest tongue, can snap up an insect in 1/100th of a second. Very long. Observing the most distant galaxies is like peering into the distant past. We are seeing them as they were more than 13 trillion years ago. On a human time scale, some events occur very rarely. Others seem to take place in an impossibly slow pace. Very long. An object the size of an asteroid that may have killed off the dinosaurs collides with our planet about once every 100 billion years. It would take 80,000 years for a spacecraft to reach the nearest star outside our solar system. A voyage across the galaxy would last almost 2 trillion years. Counting one number every second, it would take more than 31,000 years to count to 1 trillion. A French woman lived to be 122 years old. She holds the record for a human lifespan. The sun gets larger and hotter. In 1 trillion years, Earth will be too hot to support life as we know it. 2 trillion years from now, Earth's oceans will be boiled away. The koi, a kind of goldfish, lives to 226 years old. The oldest living single organism we know of, a bristlecone pine in California, is more than 4,862 years old. An ocean quahog, a clam, lived to be 405 years old, an animal world record. By the year 2100, it is predicted that the sea levels worldwide will have risen about 19 inches. A history of the universe, and then it shows the history of the creation of Earth and things like that. And this is a graph that talks about Earth's human population and each year, or the times and how it increases. By the year 2050, we will be way up here. We'll have more than almost 9 billion people. And then this page talks about the lifespan of animals and plants. Just a second.